Okay, dog lovers, let me break it to you gently. Your dog thinks you're pretty awesome most of the time, but there are things you do that they absolutely hate, even though they'll never say it because, well, they're dogs. That's right, your dog could be silently cursing your behavior. And if you want to avoid getting hated on by your sweet dog, make sure to watch this video as I will be revealing the top 14 human behaviors that dogs just can't stand. You might be surprised by what they really think. 1. Hugging them too tight. Look, we all love hugs, but dogs, not so much. Dr. Stanley Coren, a famous researcher in dogs' behavior, looked at hundreds of photos of dogs being hugged. Guess what? More than 80% of the dogs looked stressed out or anxious. While some dogs might tolerate a quick cuddle, most of them feel trapped when you squeeze them tight. That's because wrapping something around them usually means trouble, like a predator grabbing them. So, when you go in for a big hug, your dog's brain might sense danger instead of love. 2. Dressing them up in clothes. Sure, your dog looks adorable in that little sailor outfit or superhero costume, but chances are they're not feeling as fabulous as they look. Most dogs tolerate clothes because they love us, but that doesn't mean they enjoy playing dress up. Dogs are covered in fur for a reason. They're not used to having extra layers on their bodies. So, when you cover them in extra clothes, it can not only restrict their movement, but also make them too hot and even irritate their skin. So, be careful. 3. Inconsistent rules. Dogs thrive best on consistent routines. But if you let them on the couch one day and then yell at them for jumping on it the next, it confuses the heck out of them. Dr. Mary Birch, a certified animal behaviorist, says this flip-flopping can really stress out the dog. Think about it. It's just like if your boss changed the dress code every day without telling you. One day it's suits, the next day it's knickers. Confusing and stressful, right? 4. Being left alone for too long. Separation. Anxiety is real. Dogs hate being left alone for long periods, especially if they don't have enough stimulation. In his extensive research, Dr. Nicholas Dodman explains that dogs are social animals who form strong bonds with their humans. When left alone, some dogs can experience real distress, similar to a panic attack in humans. So, when you come back after hours and find your shoes destroyed, well, that's your dog's way of telling you, next time, take me with you. 5. Strong sense. Dogs have about 300 million olfactory receptors in their noses, compared to just 6 million in humans. That means they smell things 40 times better than we do. So, when you spray on that perfume or use strong-smelling cleaning products, you're giving your dog a sensory overload which could be too overwhelming. It's like someone blasting perfume straight into your face. 6. Ignoring their body language. Dogs might not be able to talk, but they're constantly communicating with humans through their body language. The problem is that humans often miss or ignore these subtle signals. When a dog yawns, it might not be because they're tired. It could be a sign of stress. A smile might actually be a submissive gesture. So when you ignore their signals, it frustrates them. If your dog's trying to tell you something, listen. They hate being misunderstood. 7. Waking them up suddenly. Imagine you're in a deep sleep, dreaming of chasing squirrels, and suddenly you're jolted awake. Not fun, right? Your dog hates that too. When you wake your dog up abruptly or disturb their nap time, you're not just interrupting their rest, you're potentially startling them and causing unnecessary stress. If you must wake them, do it gently with a soft voice or a light touch. 8. Rushing walks. Dogs live for their walks. It's their special time to explore, sniff, and stretch their legs. It's not just exercise, it's an adventure for them. According to Dr. Alexandra Horowitz, a dog cognition expert, sniffing is how dogs see their world. Through their noses, they gather information about other animals, people, and even the environment. When you rush them or tug on their leash, you're not just hurrying them along, you're taking away their chance to fully experience and enjoy their surroundings. 9. Forcing them to interact with other dogs. Just like humans, dogs don't always click with every other dog they come across. Forcing them to be friendly or social when they're not feeling it can be really stressful for them. Sometimes they just want to choose who they interact with, and it's important to respect that. Trying to make them socialize when they're not in the mood can cause more harm than good. So, it's best to let them decide. 10. Not giving them enough mental stimulation. Dogs aren't just about walks and food, they need mental stimulation too. Dr. Karen Overall, a veterinary behaviorist, compares a dog's need for mental stimulation to a human's need for a challenging job. Without it, dogs can become bored, anxious, and even develop behavioral problems. When you don't give them enough activities to keep their brain busy, they get bored. And a bored dog? Well, you know what that leads to. Chewed up shoes, destroyed pillows, and chaos. 11. Harsh grooming them. Most dogs aren't fans of grooming to begin with, but harsh or rough grooming techniques can turn an unpleasant experience into a traumatic one. Pulling on tangles, using water that's too hot or cold, or being too forceful with nail clippers are all things that can make your dog dread grooming time. Also, giving them baths frequently can also strip their coat of natural oils, which can make their skin itchy and dry. A clean dog is great, but too much of a good thing. Not so much. 12. Using words instead of actions. Dogs don't have the patience for long-winded sentences or detailed explanations, and honestly, who can blame them? They respond far better to short, clear commands and simple actions. If you're trying to explain to your dog for 5 minutes why they shouldn't be eating your sandwich, chances are they've already stopped paying attention within the first few seconds. 13. Teasing them with treats. Teasing your dog with a treat, holding it just out of reach, might seem funny to you, but it's super frustrating for your dog. Dr. Mark Bekoff, a cognitive ethologist, explains that dogs don't understand the concept of a joke. To them, you're either being confusing or mean. Repeated teasing can erode the trust between you and your dog, leading to behavioral issues down the line. So next time you're tempted to do it, just remember to not make them work for it more than necessary. 14. Punishing them for their natural behaviors. Now the last one. Imagine being scolded every time you laughed or cried. Sounds pretty awful, right? Well, that's how your dog feels when you punish them for natural behaviors, like digging, barking, or chasing. These behaviors aren't just random, they're part of their instincts, something deeply ingrained in their DNA. Punishing them for acting on these natural instincts doesn't teach them anything, and in fact, it can leave them feeling confused and anxious. So these were things you're doing that your dog secretly hates. If you're guilty of any of these, don't worry. There's always time to make it right. Now that you know what drives your dog crazy, let's focus on what you need to know as a dog owner. Check out this video popping on your screen right now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with all the dog lovers in your life.